Welcome to Around the Blockchain. Today we're going to be talking about crypto, the total value locked. Arbitrum just passed Solana. And then we're going to be talking about the Fed hikes and what does it mean for Bitcoin. And first, though, we're going to be looking at the market, too. But all right, let's go see who do we have on today. It's going to be a fantastic episode. We've never actually had this panel before. We're going to start on the top right. It is Vanessa. Make sure you check her out at web3v_. Always bringing some hot takes. Then on the bottom right, we've been chattering on Twitter. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. It is Martini Guy, one of my favorite low-cap gem hunters in the entire space. Man, I was watching him years ago. Follow those the good days of low liquidity. We were still bullish then, and things were going up.
Well, I mean, I am still bullish now. I think that the long term is good. It's just the short term people generally can't see past it.
I can't see past the end of my hands. It's my boomer eyes. Then, of course, we have Wendy on the bottom left. Make sure you check out yesterday's episode of The Hash. She's on the CoinDesk Podcast Network. She did a great job. Always does a great job on there. And fantastic TA, fantastic YouTube channel. But like I said, we're going to talk about these topics. But first, it's been a while. We're going to go back to the market watch. Why? There's something that's having some major moves. No, we're not talking about Bitcoin. No, we're not talking about Ethereum. We are talking about the dog coin. At one point, it was in the double digits. Right now, it's only 9.74% to the downside. If we look at just the 1 month chart, you can see the Elon effect. We used to have an Elon effect. Maybe the Elon effect is back. Wendy, just on a macro sense, is the Elon effect when it comes to Doge back again?
Not necessarily. The reason why Dogecoin pumped so hard when Elon was like trolling all of Twitter is because we were in a bull market. We're in a very, very, very different bull market. We are in a very different type of market. We're in a bear market. One thing that we do need to understand is we can separate technicals from fundamentals. And that basically means we can look at somebody like Elon and say, okay, he's going to tweet about this. He's going to talk about this. There is the potential for him to integrate it into Twitter. So I'm going to go ahead and bet on Dogecoin. That would be kind of similar to using fundamentals for stocks, okay, or speculating that Amazon's going to partner with Kohl's or whatever that is. When we look at the technical analysis side, yes, it does have more room to run up, but we're not going to see these insane pumps that we were seeing back into the bull run. I remember putting a video out telling my audience, Dogecoin's not going to hit $1. I got absolutely annihilated on TikTok and YouTube. And guess what? It never ended up happening. So Dogecoin does still have some room to run. However, I would recommend you look at lower time frames and probably try to time it a little bit better. If you buy the top here, you're going to get wrecked. I know that we're also going to be talking about the 0.75% rate hike, and I'll discuss more about the dollar, and I'll also discuss a little bit more about Bitcoin and what's happening. But I highly recommend that before you just ape into Dogecoin, you start dollar costing average in, you take a look at the Bitcoin chart, you take a look at the dollar, take a look what's happening with the Fed. And you remember that Bitcoin still has about a year and 200 days before halving is done. And I don't think we've seen minor capitulation yet.
I don't think either. I will say this. It does seem like the reversal happens. It used to happen a little after halving, then it kind of happened around. And last time it happened a little before. And if that trend continues, maybe a little bit sooner than we're used to. But to your point, still about 500 days away, still a ways away. Now, Vanessa, what's just your general thoughts of Dogecoin? Do you consider it a meme coin, or do you consider it maybe a coin with undiscovered potential? Is there going to be utility? Do you just see it as a Litecoin fork? Just a fun time. What are your views on the coin?
Yeah, so can you guys hear me? First of all, I've been lagging a little bit. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much for having me back on here. Doge's narrative is kind of shifting, I feel like. At first it was definitely a meme coin. It was something that people just kind of laughed about. Elon would tweet about it. It'd go up. It had, its peak euphoria during the SNL time, and then it just kind of dumped. But, now with Elon taking over, there's some rumors about him putting in a crypto wallet on Twitter and, possibly integrating Doge somehow. You have, CZ helping him out, putting in $50 million, I think that number was. And now there's a whole narrative about integrating like Mask and Doge. So it's definitely changing in my eyes. I actually wouldn't buy any right now because, like Wendy said, I think it's kind of, the peak of that run up and it's probably expected to pull back. So, let's see how it progresses and if I change my mind about Doge.
All right. And time will tell. We'll see what the Techno King can create out of thin air here. All right, Martini Guy, we were talking before we went live. We're talking about, trading Doge, and I think you might even have a few trades early. You got in before the pump, luckily enough, but have you taken any profits? Are you looking at more potential upside? Or are you looking at maybe hedging your bets with a stop loss in profit? Where are you at with your trade? And we could pull up just the 7-day chart here if you'd like, Michael.
So, I mean, I can explain where I'm at with the trade and everything like that, which would be, there is, I would say, a lot of expectation that Dogecoin is topped out right now. I would somewhat argue against that, being that from my perspective, what Elon is doing with Twitter has only just started. Dogecoin itself is possibly one of the most useless coins that you could buy. It serves no real utility. It has no real purpose, and it's complete trash. But we're in a world that doesn't care about what money is, and so from that perspective, does it matter that it's no, it doesn't matter. Nothing like that matters. From my perspective, this is a purely price speculative asset that goes up, it goes down, and it's there to make money with. And from my perspective, locally, yeah, it does look a little bit topped out. But at the same time, with Elon having just taken over Twitter and with what is going on there, I do expect that there is a lot more upside to go. I am long on Dogecoin. I don't intend on closing my long, despite what we were discussing before. I don't think it's going down. You might, but it's not.
We were joking. We were joking. All right, a little backstory. I told him to close his long 27 hours ago, which would have been good, but if you're in it for the long term, it doesn't really matter. A little fluctuation. I'm also long-term bullish.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I am in it for the long term, but the long term for me is 20 cents. That's my target for my trade. Whenever it hits, it could hit this week, but at the same time, when I place a trade these days, I have an entry point, I have an exit point, and I have a liquidation point, and liquidation point in my stop loss. If it hits it, sod it. We're going with lots of leverage in this market anyway. It saves. From my perspective, I prefer to use a lot of leverage rather than using a lot of margin, because it stops you kind of losing a huge chunk, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I go with higher leveraged, kind of less margin trades at the moment.
Yeah. There's different strategies. Now, Wendy, I want to just ask you just a quick question. We're talking about Doge and Martini. It really doesn't, he kind of brought up a point. It doesn't really have much use case except for peer-to-peer transaction services. I want to ask you, what do you think the first peer-to-peer coin to really be implemented in Twitter will be? We have Binance teaming up with Twitter, or, submitting $500 million to help the buyout. It could be BSC. A lot of maxis for Bitcoin. Could be Bitcoin. ETH is cheap. It's scalable. It's used all over the world. Could be ETH. But he's obsessed with Doge. Could be Doge. What do you think the next coin to be heavily transacted on Twitter will be?
The CBDC.
Ooh. Okay. All right. You got 2 points for that. That was good.
Why would so people have this misconception like, oh my God, Elon Musk has taken over, he cares about me, like he's gonna hear me, blah blah blah. Elon Musk is a businessman. Elon Musk paid $44 billion for the social media platform Twitter, even though he needs his ego to be stroked, because we know people love their ego to be stroked that have god tier money, but at the same time he has to perform. There's other people that have invested in the platform, and Elon Musk is going to perform. He also has to pay attention to regulators. Just because we're talking about Elon Musk here doesn't mean he is going to integrate Doge just because he wants to and to make a joke. I would love to see that happen because I think it'd be epic and amazing, but at the same time, he's going to have to work with the SEC. He's going to have to work with FinCEN. He's going to have to work with regulators. And we all know that those predatory bodies, those public servants, do not care about our liberty or our freedom. So Elon Musk, no matter what he's posting out about Twitter, no matter how bad he's trolling them, he still is going to be bowing down to them.
Okay, Vanessa, same question, real quick. What coin do you think, first heavily utilize on the Twitter network?
Yeah, I mean, to kind of piggyback on what Wendy said, she made a great point. Going back to that peak euphoria of Doge, if everybody remembers, it was also, he kind of stopped talking about it when it was time for companies to pay taxes. So it's kind of, okay, great. He could talk about Doge all he wants, but he also has Tesla and Starlink, and he gets all these tax credits. So he's definitely going to have to, go with the regulators' motions. And more than likely, it's probably going to be, one of those ISO coins like an XRP, an XLM, something that is regulated, because Twitter is a publicly traded company and it has to kind of go with regulation as well.
Okay, nice plot twist there. I didn't expect those two coins to come out. Martini Guy, I might as well ask you the same. Now, don't say one of your low cap gems with like that 300K market cap. We can't blow up the internet here. So of the major cap coins, what do you think it would be?
Bitcoin, but
Bitcoin,
also
yeah.
Bitcoin is somewhat useless, being 7 transactions a second. Maybe Lightning
Hey, the
Network,
Lightning
Bitcoin.
Network. Don't let Jack hear that. Dorsey or Mahler, they'll get real upset. All right, well, let's move on and talk about crypto total value locked. We're talking about Arbitrum in relation to Solana. I do want to show this. Solana, currently its market cap, it's flirted with the top 5, but right now all the way down to number 10. You can see about 10, almost 11 billion on the market cap, down to $30.33. Well, it just got passed by Arbitrum for having more total value locked. They came in at $2.3 billion and a huge market share with all the layer 2. So we have an Ethereum layer 2 protocol beating a competing L1. Wendy, do you think that says anything about the macro environment moving forward? Do a lot of these competitors to Ethereum, do they actually have more headwinds than they really realize here?
To be honest, it all depends on each individual solution and what they're building, their community. It depends on a lot of things. And I feel like, again, in the bear market, we're going to see a lot of this stuff go away. That's typically what happens, and I'm okay with that. I think it's safe to place bets on multiple different projects to see which one does well. But as always, you do have to do your own research and all of those fun things, etc., and take responsibility for your actions. But again, without all of these layer 1s or layer 2s, the scaling solutions, whatever it may be, this is good for Bitcoin. This is good for the entire crypto industry because we're bringing positive competition to the market. And that's exactly what we want to do. We want to allow the market to challenge other market participants to be better builders and to hopefully have one or a few that ends up thriving. We don't want a monopoly. Crypto is about freedom. It's about liberty. So let the builders build.
Yeah, just let them build. That's all they got to do. All right, Martini Guy, I don't know if you recall, but remember Solana was in hot water for faked TVL. It was 2 brothers. They pretended to be like 15 people. They create a DeFi token. You know DeFi. Well, you taught me a lot about DeFi years ago. They create a DeFi token, and then they create another DeFi token that could stake the previous token, and then they repeat it where it could stake that previous token, where they make $1 look like $20 just by staking it 19 additional times. Do you think there's any chicanery going on here with Arbitrum? Is it possible we're seeing something similar, or do you think it'd be a little bit harder to game and there's more eyeballs on that type of activity?
I think when Solana did what they did, or rather the people at Solana did what they did, they had a lot of money and skills, and it was a very well operated kind of, I don't know what you would call it. It's not really money laundering. It's more like money creation.
Yeah,
just
that's
like
a good way of putting
printing
it.
your own cash. It's a weird thing that they did with Arbitrum. I don't feel like they've got the same backing. You got to remember, like FTX is so heavily involved with the Solana kind of platform, and they're very big investors into Solana-based projects. I know I did a lot of investing into Solana things. I would just say, from my perspective, DeFi is always best on Ethereum, despite the gas fee, but also mostly when it comes to DeFi, the majority of it right now is just so high risk. I've met so many people that are friends of mine that I've spoke to like recently, and they've lost so much money from like drains in yield farms and people.
Now, are we talking about impermanent loss or more like a rug pull situation?
We're talking about impermanent, as in you're having it.
I guess they're kind of be the same, really. Now that I'm thinking about it,
it's the same,
yeah.
But being that you've got either a dev withdrawing the entire wallet, or more likely, because what always happens in these bear markets is people hack the protocol itself. So when they hack the protocol itself, they can drain everything from within that protocol. And it just seems to be so common. Like with Crypto Saving Experts, so far this year, I think we counted it. We've done 40 articles in the past like 3 months about hacks, and each one is an individual hack. You're talking about more than like $3 billion that's been hacked in the past few months. It's insane. But that, like, where is all this money going, by the way? Like, I'd like to meet these people because they're obviously making a fortune right now.
They're at the Bitcoin beach.
Yeah.
Enjoying a Mai Tai.
Some kind of tax haven somewhere.
Yeah. Or, they're buying that Lambo. All right, Vanessa, one thing I haven't even mentioned is Arbitrum doesn't even technically have a token, yet they have such a robust ecosystem, and valuation is way up there. I mean, I want to say it was at 2.3. So how do you think they were able to come to such a high valuation without really interacting with a token like you would expect from most coin protocols.
I mean, it's definitely interesting. Their numbers are impressive, and the fact that they are tokenless, it does kind of, bear the question. And I wonder, how much of it is kind of the chasing the airdrop hype, because last week it was, Aptos was the name, and then now we have Art Gobbles, we had Optimism, and it seems like people are just kind of right now, specifically with the whole market being, I guess, as boring as it is, if you will, are kind of just trying to chase the profits, chase anything that's shiny and new. And I hope that they dig deeper and look at maybe other layer 2 solutions that have been around in the bear market, have been building these types of relationships with reputable companies. Disney and Starbucks aren't building on Polygon for no reason. So it's definitely interesting to see these numbers go up.
No, I think that's actually a really good point. I think a lot of it is because any desire I've had to operate in the Arbitrum ecosystem is entirely for an airdrop. And so, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. We're in crypto for a multitude of reasons, but oftentimes, first and foremost, is financial freedom, make a little money. All right, let's talk about the rate hikes here. I don't want to bog you down with the numbers too much, but it came in at 75 basis points. There was a 10% chance it was going to come in at 50, but most of the markets, at last I looked, it was around 88% were coming in. No, it's going to be about 75. Well, it was 75. It was the fourth straight 75 bit point increase that we've seen. Some of the toughest policy moves we've seen since the 80s. Right now, we're around 3.75%. Wendy, I want to talk to you about trading the minutes or trading Jerome Powell's remarks. I see so many people live stream. George is live streaming it. Our friend Tom Crown is live streaming it. Elon was trying to give me a Bitcoin 20 different live streams. So there's so many people live streaming this event. Do you trade this? And if so, or if not, I mean, do you have any general advice for people who just, they can't help but trade it? They're going to trade it. So what would you tell those people?
I'm going to tell those people, do what works for you. As far as my Bitcoin positions go, I am interested in getting dumped on between $1,500 and $9,500. Again, I have bids set down between $15,000 and $9,500, and I want to get dumped on, and I want to get dumped on hard. Why? Because I want to accumulate Bitcoin at those prices. The market doesn't care about me. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't care about anything. If my bids get hit, fantastic. If they don't, fantastic, because I bought Bitcoin around the $20,000 area, around $30,000, whatever. People that want to trade these markets, that's fine. That's their business. If you are going to be trading these markets, you do have to be an experienced trader, and I believe Martini Guy can attest to that. Sometimes we assume that we're going to get a certain decision by the Fed, but instead we get an opposite decision. The markets go crazy. People are getting liquidated. They're getting stopped out. So just as long as you understand the risk, trade, do whatever it is you want. I think it's great for content creators to do. We talk about that on my channel. I generally just like to look at the Dixie, and I will go ahead because they have an inverse relationship, and I'll trade according to that. But have fun, do whatever works for you, just as long as you understand the risks.
Yeah, little Tom, he had 3,500 in there, and not he's a big personality, big channel, but his short is all. But yeah, he had 3,500. We were in there hanging out, altcoin daily. It was a whole little party. Martini Guy. Now, Wendy, she likes to talk about risk management, the moon bag, but Martini Guy, I think it's fair to say, you play a little bit riskier than some people. I know I certainly go a little bit riskier. That's why I just was loving your just consuming so much, trying to find those sub-$1 million market cap coins. I just kind of laugh thinking about it now. But next time we come in with the rate hike, even if people expect 50, even if the market, deciders are saying, 80, 90% of people are expecting 50, the second we do something lower than 75, do you think we'll have a positive reaction, or are we just bled dry at this point and we're still heading down?
I want to address the first thing that you said first, which is
let's do it.
I've found another one that I reckon will bang 500x. I'm absolutely positive.
You got to go follow this guy's channel. Go follow this guy's channel. I'm not trying to hype him up, but there's not many people I sub to, and he's one of them.
It's another Swissborg. It'll do what Swissborg did with this thing. Anyway, that aside, because I was so excited that I found this thing. It's amazing. Anyway, the other thing, aside from I can't say that word, coin shilling, it would be yes, of course, the coin price of Bitcoin will go up very significantly, 0.5% or anything around that kind of figure. Anything that's not 0.75, but actually, really, I guess a better way to put it would be, it depends what the expectation is. If the expectation is 0.5 and we get 0.5, probably nothing will happen. It always seems to be that it's based off the expectation, and that's how it trades. Like today, when the price went up initially and then down afterwards, we're at the exact same point now that we were this morning. We had a little bit of excitement in between, but because expectation met reality, nothing changed. So I think it'd be very interesting to see what happens if it is a 0.5, but I think it's more so about the narrative around it. If the Fed comes in with a 0.5 and says, well, we don't know what we're going to do next time, nothing will change. But if they go, look, this is the first of many decreasing amounts of rate hiking, I think we'll see significant price increases. So overall, I mean, I'm just excited to see Bitcoin above 21,000 again when it gets there. And when it goes above 21,000, I'm quite confident of more upside. Being that I think too many people are short. Like, I don't know how much looking at the shorts you've done recently. So many people are short. These people have to get wiped out.
Yeah.
Like, I've got one more thing, which would be, if the people are so short right now, that means there has been in the past huge appetite for shorts. But at the point where those people are pushed above a certain level, there suddenly becomes massive appetite for longs because those shorts have to close. The same when you have over a leverage at the top when Bitcoin's $69,000 and everybody's long. It's not a sudden amount of people that dump Bitcoin, nor is it a sudden amount of people that pump Bitcoin. It's the opposite side of the trade getting liquidated that pushes the price up because spot volume is so low, but derivative volume is so high that when you push derivatives in the wrong direction too far, it just acts like a catapult and just bounces in the opposite direction. Doesn't matter about the fundamentals at that point. And so from my perspective, that's where I think we're headed. I think that too many people think the price is going to go too low, and that will eventually cause it just takes one whale.
Yeah, and if you Google short squeeze, it kind of breaks down what he's talking about. Real quick question, Martini guy. I don't know, did you see the wicks on the hourly candle today?
Yeah.
Very, very wild. During the bull market, just quick question, do you think that'll become worse or less volatile?
I think that, of course, every bull market starts off incredibly volatile and then it gets increasingly less volatile with time. I think from my perspective, the best time to be wading into a market is kind of around now. Even if we do go lower, like no one can time the bottom. So I think the volatility will increase with time, but I think that we'll probably see a fairly boring winter, to be honest, as far as price action goes.
Like the Starks say, winter is coming. Now, Vanessa, I wanted to ask you about the inflation targets. Obviously, you know, one of the main goals, one of the main stated goals, at least, of the Fed is to keep inflation in check. They have a benchmark target of 2%. Obviously, you know, we get numbers that it's close to 10. I think average American feels like it's slightly above 10%. Some people, maybe even 20%. So is 2% a realistic target in your opinion? Is that something we can ever get to, or is that cat out of the bag, you know, for eternity?
I mean, it's definitely realistic, but if we keep increasing it, you know, how long is it going to take for us to get down there if we can keep inching, you know? Jerome Powell kind of alluded towards slowing down rates, but then on the same breath, he also says there's a need for ongoing rate increases. So it's kind of, I feel like they're going back and forth a lot, and I wonder how much of that is influenced by politics. You know, this time around it's literally, you know, we have midterm elections coming around, and this is the last FOMC meeting we're going to get before. So I'm more interested in seeing how December is going to come about, especially with the summary of economic projections. Midterms are out of the way, so they no longer have to, you know, worry about how it's going to slow and, you know, let it correct with it.
Do you think they'll make more painful decisions because of that?
I think that 2023, we're probably going to start 2023 on a painful note, to be honest. Okay. So, yeah.
All right. Hey, the Starks were right, maybe. Maybe the Starks were right. All right, well, that is all we have time for. We're not going to do Q&A. We went a little long on the Doge section. I know you folks at home love your Doge coins. You love your Shiba coins. Hit that like button if you like coins with random animals or JPEGs of random animals. Please smash that like. Really helps us get out in the algorithm. But Martini Guy looks like he narrowly edged out. And once again, make sure you're following all three people here. They put out fantastic content. But Martini Guy, feel free. Take us away. Leave us with some parting thoughts, sir.
I just think it's cool. It's the first time that I've met Wendy. Wendy, I've followed your content for a long time. It's great. So yeah, that's my ending thing would be If you like altcoins, go and buy some. But have a great day, everybody.
If you like altcoins, go and buy some. And like we said, now's about a good time to wade into this crypto pool. No one can predict the bottom exactly, but I feel like we're swirling close enough to the drain where you're not going to
Martini Guy can.
He can. And hey, you won't get run out of next year's Thanksgiving if you tell him to buy it this Thanksgiving. That's my prediction, at least. Until next time, BitSquad. DZ out. Sorry, that's an American holiday. Frankie, coming on in 10 minutes.